pretty fun book, I'll be completely honest. Yeah, I'm destroyed. Thanks. I'm literally gonna start crying. Guys, I think you know what time it is, okay? Welcome to Bookmas Day 22. I'm about to give you guys my entire December reading wrap up. Now, these are my favorite videos to film because I literally have an excuse to just sit and talk about the books that I read. This is my favorite time of every single month. I just get to sit and yap about books with you guys. So that is what today's video is going to be. So I read a total of 5 books this month. I'm actually filming this like kind of prematurely, I guess I would say, because it's not even like that close to the end of the month. I still have like 10 more days left. So I'm also going to give you guys the other 2 books that I'm currently reading that I'm pretty sure, like 99% sure, I'll finish by the end of the month. The first one I want to talk about is actually my favorite book that I read this month, and that is none other than Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. Like, the things that these characters went through were so heavy, and like obviously these characters have all the reason to be like shutting everyone out. Something about this book really hit me hard. There are so many quotes from this book that I highlighted and I have been thinking about every single day of my life ever since I read this book, so it is such a good book. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves, guys, okay? Let me tell you guys the premise of Archer's Voice. It follows Bree and Archer, and basically they both have just a very traumatic past. Let's just put it that way, okay? Like, Bree went through so much that she ends up running away from her like past life, I guess. I don't know how else to put it. She just ends up like taking a trip. Basically, this guy named Archer lives in that small town of Maine, and he went through obviously a very traumatic thing in his past also, so he doesn't even speak at all. I think that I appreciate this book so much because it's obviously a romance book, but I liked how they became friends first and they like got to know each other on a deeper level before it became like romance type of thing. And I don't know, I feel like it was so different from other books that I've read. Like, everything these characters have gone through in the past and the way it still comes up in their current life and the way that they're trying to work through it, like, I literally can't. I read this on my Kindle so that I could highlight some stuff. Like, oh my god. I unfortunately am gonna have to go to my Kindle notes and highlights and read you guys some. First quote I want to share says, "I would be okay, I knew that, but it always took a little while to shake the feeling of being back there in that place, in that moment of utter grief and terror, and then sometimes several hours before the sadness left me, but never completely." Oh god, like, why am I about to cry? I read a singular quote. Another quote says, "Maybe that's what I need, I thought, to remember that I was a person with friends and a life before tragedy struck. It was so easy to feel like my whole existence began and ended that terrible day, but that wasn't true. I needed to remind myself of that as much as possible." Oh my god, like, this book really hits me. Like, strikes something in me. Like, I feel like I'm getting fully electrocuted, like struck by lightning when I read quotes from this book. I don't want to read too many quotes from this book, but I just keep scrolling through it. I'm like, oh, like, I need to share this one too. It says, "As I stood there remembering, thinking about the girl I was, I missed her. I missed my old self. I hadn't been a girl unmarked by tragedy. I wasn't naive to the ways of the world. I knew you weren't guaranteed anything and that life wasn't always fair." Like, so good, okay? I rated Archer's Voice an obvious 5 stars. Next up is a book that I read on my Kindle, which is Lark by Alex Astor. Now, I have a bone to pick with Lark. I don't want to like go from super positive to super negative, but unfortunately that's what we're gonna have to do, okay? I gave Lark a 3.5 stars. Like, okay, if you want some plot holes, like, read the book. If you want world building, like the entire book, read Lark. So I feel like the way that the book was structured is so different than other fantasy books that I've read. In my opinion, it's negative, but it might not be for other people. So this is like totally like personal preference type of thing. Basically, the whole premise of Lark is you're following, I believe it's 6 different realms. And each like 100-year centennial happens. Every centennial, like the ruler from each of the 6 different realms has to meet on the middle island called Lark because they each like got a curse cast upon them and they come together to try to break the curse. That is the whole like idea of this, and we're following like a ruler who's like a new ruler of one of the realms, where basically like this is her first year doing the centennial, so she's kind of trying to break the curse, trying to figure out like what even is going on. But the big thing about the character Isla, the girl that we're following, is basically she was born powerless. Now each of the different like rulers from the different realms have powers. Isla doesn't. Now I do have a few critiques about the book, okay? First of all, Isla, literally, I wanted to punch her in the face. There, I said it. Like, everything that she was doing in the book, I was like, oh, so like, what? Like, why did you choose to do that? And then also, I'm just like, I get that she's powerless. We get it. I understand. You don't have to tell me like 50,000 times. You don't have to make her rethink herself every single time she does anything. And also, oh my god, the ending actually set me off like extremely. I rage. Like, literally, I feel like I got launched into a brick wall. What are we doing? Oh my god, I feel like I'm ranting now, and I don't want this to seem like super negative, because I still gave the book a 3.5 stars. It was still like a fun book. It was still a good time, you know? It wasn't like a horrible book. It also might have been a case of like a book talk hyped book that I just like thought was gonna be amazing, and then obviously I overhyped it for myself. So that also might be a case of the book, but I gave it a 3.5 stars, so let's move on. The next book that I read is Love Light Farms by B.K. Borison. What even was this book, genuinely? I'm so sorry. It felt like very Hallmark-esque. I feel like there's at least 5 different Hallmark movies with the same premise. It was a pretty fun book, I'll be completely honest. Now this book follows 2 best friends. To market her Christmas tree farm online, she basically wants it to be like a romantic destination. That's how she's marketing it, so she lies. And her lie consists of, oh my gosh, I own it with my boyfriend, it's such a romantic spot. I don't know why I loved this book. It was just like, it was cringe. Like, I'm cringe, but I'm free. That's how I feel about this book, okay? So I gave this book a, I believe, 3.5. I leaned into the cringe and I loved it. And I feel like what, like, obviously related to the fact that I was reading it around Christmas time, like, obviously, I'm going to love this book so much when, like, we're putting up the tree, sitting by the Christmas tree, watching a Christmas movie on in the background. Like, yeah, it's gonna have more rating. The next book we have is One Day in December by Jersey Silver. Now, like, this book is my new favorite book, probably of all time, I think. Like, it is very comparable to almost all of my favorite, like, 5-star books. It genuinely made me cry multiple times. Like, the end, you really get a good payoff. Basically, this book follows our main characters, Lori and Jack, and when they first meet, it's like a love at first sight thing. They meet when Lori is on a bus and Jack is at the bus stop, and they make eye contact. And then for the next, like, I want to say around a year, Lori is looking for Jack, and then actually it turns out that Jack is Sarah, Lori's best friend slash roommate's boyfriend. And it kind of follows them along on a 10-year span of friendship, watching these characters go through different relationships and learning new things about themselves and like different accidents that happen and like everything that happens within their lives in this 10-year span. Like, it was enough to literally make me cry. Like, it was so right person, wrong time. They, like, how did you guys wait 10 years? I don't really want to give you guys too much from this book. I really want you guys to go into this blind because holy, like if you guys don't cry at this book, I'm literally crying. I'm not real. Like, this is not real. The last book of this reading wrap-up is The Christmas Fix by Lucy Score. I need to honestly preface this by saying I have never been the biggest fan of Lucy Score's writing. I kind of always knew that about myself, so I don't want this to come off as like in a bad way. This, compared to the other Lucy Score books that I've read, I like this one the most, I feel. I think I gave this book a 3 stars. I feel like that's just exactly where it's gonna sit. Now this book, like most Christmas books, is very like Hallmarky-esque. I feel like that's the only way to describe it. Basically our main characters are Catalina and this guy named Noah. Now Catalina is like, I guess just a TV star type of person, and she ends up going to this small town that Noah is, I guess, like the manager, just the overseer of things in, and she goes and she tries to like help fix up the town. Noah is not seeing that the same way she's seeing it. I don't know what else to say about this book other than it's a grumpy ex-sunshine trope for sure, but Noah was not grumpy, he was just mean. Noah as a character was not a good character, like not even like a good character to like at all. So for him to be the love interest of this book is very confusing in my head. Why is he just being mean to Catalina? And also, like, I don't even like Catalina that much. Like, I am not her biggest fan by a long shot, but why is Noah treating her that way? I think that sometimes when authors write like male characters in books, the male characters get a pass to just be rude, and then the author markets it as like a grumpy ex-sunshine. It's like, ugh, that's actually toxic and he's being really rude. So with all that being said, those are all of the books that I read in December. I actually have 2 more that I'll probably finish before December is actually over because I am filming this video, like I said, a little bit prematurely. So I'll give you the 2 books that I'll probably finish by December, but don't worry, they will be in my January reading wrap up. So the 2 books that I'm currently reading that, hopefully crossing my fingers, I'll finish before December is over is The Ministry of Time by Hallianne Bradley. I hope I'm saying that first name right. And then the other one is Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis. It'll make sense in January, I promise. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I love you guys so much. Thanks for tuning in to another Bookmas video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out all my social links in the description box down below, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for another Bookmas video. Goodbye.